Hi there, my name is Jeffrey Silvers, and today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be discussing the data collection portion of the project that we are working on in the LEAD 666 classroom. My project is focused on revitalizing and creating a new program for training resident assistants at Western Kentucky University, specifically for the fall semester. Western Kentucky usually employs anywhere between 100 to 120 resident assistants, and they are in charge of handling some minor situations, but we're focused on the crisis situations, including alcohol poisoning, drug abuse, suicidal thoughts and ideals, anything like that. These are the crisis situations. We're really focused on making sure that they are trained for those specific situations. And so what I want to do today is I want to first start by choosing the data collection instrument. And yes, I'm going to be looking up in this corner a little bit where my notes are, just to make sure that I go through all the points that I have here to be especially thorough. The goal of the new training program is mainly focused on making sure that they have skills and knowledge. So those are the two big criteria that we want to make sure that we are getting. And a secondary goal would probably be to monitor attitude. You know, if they have a negative attitude when they come into the training process, then they're not going to absorb the information as well. So we want to make sure that they have a positive attitude. So that's kind of a secondary goal, really focused on the skills and the knowledge. So the top contenders for the data collection was observation and product review, and we eventually landed on a product review. And what that's going to look like is synthesizing the information from past year's incident reports with this year's incident reports to see what areas of concern still exist and where RAs still need to be trained on, what the strengths of the new program were, what the drawbacks of the new program were. A limitation of product review is that you can't really identify behavior. You can't monitor behavior in this, but we feel like that's okay because, or the planning team will feel like that's okay because it's going to be reflected, the behavior is reflected in the incident reports that are being analyzed. So I feel like product review is going to be the right choice for this because it also allows us to compare past years to this year's. So talking about step 10, which is designing and piloting review, we're going to review common mistakes made in past IRs and look for similar mistakes. We're going to analyze that information and really look for anything that's still persistent, anything that's still a big issue for resident assistants, knowledge gaps that they have, anything that in the procedure, the things that are supposed to be being done that aren't being done, and how we can go back and retrain on that. Gathering and recording data. RAs will gather and record the data as they go through incident reports. So incident reports are reports that RAs fill out when they handle an incident, like a student with suicidal thoughts or ideation, drug abuse, alcohol, anything that an RA has to deal with, they will fill out an incident report for. So we will analyze the information from the incident reports this year and compare them to incident reports from previous years. So that data collection is already in progress, and there's already a program established for that. It's just the review of the data. So the data analysis, looking for common errors, looking for anything that we can retrain on or modify the way that the information is trained. Even in places where the numbers went down from past years, if there's still a persisting issue, then we need to make sure that we are discussing that, even if the numbers are on their way down, making sure that if they're still relatively high in comparison to other things, that we are retraining and focusing on ways that we can train in different ways. We're looking for anything that's different between procedure and practice. So the procedure is the way that the department wants things to be handled, and practice is the way that they are being handled. So any differentiation between those two things is what we want to focus on. And we could even recommend changes to the procedure if there's no flaw in the way that it's being done, and it's not technically the procedure. We could recommend changes to the administration. Managing that data, we want to make sure that we are generating questions that can be answered by revisiting the data. So questions like where are areas of struggle for RAs, where are issues with the procedure that we think need to be adjusted, where are the most common incident reports that are being turned in. These are all questions that we can make sure that we are asking, that we have to reference back to that data on, so that we can manage that data and make sure that it's being put to good use. We also need to synthesize information and create a report, which is step 14. So report on how the changes went, was there improvement, and what areas was there improvement, all that kind of stuff. Where do RA still struggle? We're not expecting perfection with the new training exercise, but we are expecting improvement, and we know this is going to be a long process, but as long as we stay focused on student success, then we are on the right path for this program.